There you go. Looks pretty good. Yeah. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been out for a little while. I was at a rally over the weekend that I had to get ready for. Yeah, today we're going to continue on the atomic fireball rebuild. So I'm going to try to get this thing apart today to see what kind of little parts I might need to replace. That way I can place one order and keep this thing going. So yeah, you guys are ready? Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to start by removing the headset top so we can see what's going on in here. Usually it's 4 screws holding it in, but I can only see 2. 1, 2, and then these 2 back ones are missing. There and there. So yeah, let me get that off, and then I'm going to get the horn cast off because the previous owner did give me a new one to replace this with. So yeah, let's start with that. Alright, I got these 2 screws out, and usually you're supposed to disconnect the speedometer to pull the headset top off, because the speedometer cable is connected to the speedometer. But looks like this was disconnected, so I'll leave the speedometer cable in there for now. But looking at this thing, I can already tell I need a new headlight because this one's broken. And this throttle tube's a little wonky. I'm going to replace that. And also there's plastic bushings here that the tube glides on both sides. So I'm going to order a new set of those bushings. And also the throttle cable doesn't look like it's hooked up. I need a new one of those. Other than that, this doesn't look bad. Yeah, let's move on to the horn cast. So for the horn cast, there's usually an emblem here. You pop that off, there's a screw back there. And then back here, inside the glove box, there's usually 2 screws to hold the back of the horn cast on. So take those 2 screws out, and the cover should just come right off. Alright, so I got the horn cast off. This all looks to be pretty intact. I believe this is the turn signal sound indicator. I'm not sure though. This is actually the first time I've taken apart a Stella. So yeah, we'll figure it out though. Yeah, like I said, I do have a new one of these I'm going to replace with, this with. Because you can see it's broken right here. So yeah, so far I don't think I need anything here except maybe these metal clips in 2 spots, and of course the emblem. All right, let's move on to the back. Next up, I'm gonna pull the fuel tank out. All right, if you've never pulled the fuel tank off before, it's pretty simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll get this rear rack off as well. But you do have to disconnect the gas and the oil lines from the engine before you do so. Okay, so I've got the side cover off. This one right here is your oil feed line. The fuel line is actually on the carb itself. So you have to take this cover off. And you can see it's only 2 screws here and here. And it's got the back rack here. It makes it a little harder, but not impossible. So let me get that off. Okay, we got the carb box cover off. This hose back here, this crusty one. You can see it. Yeah, that crusty one right there. That's the fuel line. Again, this is the oil line, and it's easier to work with without the filter on. So I'll remove the filter as well. And it's only 2 screws, just this one and this one. And that'll get the filter off. Alright, see, I got the carb filter off, and this hose clamp for the fuel line loosened, and the fuel line almost off. I'll probably need to take the gas tank off and kind of yank it from the other side to get the rest of that off. So yeah, gas tank, again, is these three screws here. Take the seat off, and then these 2 back here. I'll probably remove the rear rack as well. And then up here, is a grommet around the fuel lever. You have to remove that. And the entire gas tank lever and the oil tank comes out together. So the oil tank is actually connected to the sight glass as well. So all this stuff comes out together. Alright, so I got the rear rack off. Had to disconnect this fuel sender wiring. Thankfully the gas tank is not full, but it does have some fuel in it, so I gotta be careful. The oil tank seems to be a little full. You can tell by this little sight glass here. So yeah, we're gonna pull the gas tank up now, and everything should come along with it. You see when I'm pulling it, I'm actually lifting the back up, and you'll see the sight glass go backwards. And just comes out like that. Nice little wiggle. I can't get it all the way up because this oil line is still connected, and also the fuel line. So usually I just cut it, but this one seems like I can pull it. See if I can get this line off completely. Yank it out of there. That's good. All right. Pull the clamp out of there first. Yep, that's good. And I'll just push it down the back of the car box, lift up at the same time. And it's pretty stuck, but just this tank, I'll see if I can pull it. Oh crap. I can already feel the oil dripping all over me, so we got a little leak down there. Okay, let me do this off camera. It's gonna get messy. Well, that sucks. Looks like the oil line came off in the bottom when I was yanking it, and now I got a big old mess down there. But thankfully there's not that much oil in the tank. We'll just have to clean it up. Well, I take that back. Actually got through the drip tray. Now it's all over the lift and and the exhaust. It is what it is. Just have to clean it up. I got most of the oil out, but I'm pretty sure underneath this drip tray here is a huge puddle. So I'm going to take these little side cowl lever lock things off and then get that drip tray out, and we'll see how bad it is under there. Well, that was a little bit of a pain. I had to get these little levers out, but not entirely. And then drip tray took a little bit of wiggling. And yeah, there's a big old oil puddle down there. So I'll clean that up, and then we'll keep going. Alright, so next up, I'm going to pull this exhaust off. It's covered in oil. So it's just a 17mm bolt right here. On the other side, there's some springs. 2 springs. And then there's a 10mm bolt holding it to the cylinder. Alright, so I actually had to get the wheel off to get that bolt completely out. Yeah, down to the other side. For the other side, you need one of these spring pullers. These guys. I've done enough exhausts where I have a nice collection of them. So let's get this off. 1, 2. Should be able to. Alright, exhaust is off. Yeah, made a pretty big mess on that too. Alright, I'll clean that up and I'll be right back. Alright, next I'm gonna drain the gear oil, which is this 11mm bolt right there. Actually, it looks pretty clean. Surprising. Alright, while the gear oil is draining, I'm going to go ahead and take the carb off. Basically just strip this engine down a little bit so it's not so freaking heavy when I go to remove it from the bike. So to do that, it's just two 11mm nuts on the top. Front and back. I got the carb loose. Here's your actual throttle cable, I'm sorry, choke cable. And then I think the throttle cable is actually not hooked up yet. So I'm going to pull that off real quick and the carb should be able to come right out. That. A little more. And the back nut. Alright, take the filter off first. Alright, you got the filter off. And the uni filter. Get the entire carb box out. Make it easier. Oh, it's not cooperating. There you go. Alright, entire carb box is out. Strange how this air screw is keeping me from removing it. I'm going to have to cut those burrs down a little bit. I pulled the entire carb box out with a carb. This is usually secured with one screw right here. That's missing, so I'm going to have to order a new one of those as well. Now that I have the carb and carb box out, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the wiring. After that, it's just this one shock bolt and then one engine bolt over here that actually connects the engine to the frame. And I'll take the gear selector off and I'll detach the rear brake cable and the clutch cable. That's pretty easy. Just open this little lid here and unplug everything. I'm going to start taking the little parts off just so it's not so much weight when I go to remove the motor. I'm going to go and remove the cylinder shroud now. So I'll crack this thing when I'm trying to wiggle the motor out. It's not in that great of a shape anyway, but I'll try to save it. Just one bolt on the top here. He bolts onto the cylinder head. Right there. So that's good. Let's get this wiring out of the way. Alright, I'll take the selector box off now. Okay. Alright. Selector box disconnected. Alright, I've got the rear brake cable disconnected, clutch cable disconnected. Next up, I'll take this rear shock bolt off, and then the main engine bolt. thing's gonna drop, but not sure why this thing's so loose. But maybe the engine bushings need to be replaced as well. Get this off first. All right, rear's dropped. Step back. Alright, got the main engine bolt out. It's actually a 22mm nut with a lock washer. That was actually loose, which is why the engine was all loose. That wasn't good. Wheel off. I'm going to pull this engine bolt out, and then we'll wiggle the engine out of there. I guess I'll do it from the other side. Alright, engine's out. I'm going to stick it in my rebuild stand. Alright, so putting this in the stand here is a little tricky, but helps if I had two people, but not impossible. Okay. The rear all set up in here. That's that. Now I'll lift the back up. This little nut through. Sorry, bolt, not nut. All right, there you go. All set up in my engine stand. I get to tear her down. And you can see the previous owner took the clutch out. I think I still have it, but I'm not going to reuse it, so we're going to upgrade it. Alright, so as you can see, I've got the Fireball pretty much all torn down. Pretty much the same as the P-Series bikes, just with a lot of modern upgrades. Now, while I'm rebuilding this motor, I don't want to tie up my lift, so I came up with this little scooter dolly. Pretty much just bolts in place of where the engine bolts. And that way, if I need to use the lift, I can roll this thing off. But yeah, I pretty much have a list of what I need to finish this project now. So in the next video, I will be tearing this engine down and then cleaning it all up and then rebuilding it. So stay tuned for that. Again, if you guys have enjoyed the video so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all later.